Get ready for National Beer Day. We're heading out to Blackrocks Brewery. Ansley Watson is hanging out this morning to tell us a little bit more about how they're celebrating. Good morning, Ansley.
Good morning, Sam. Check out these cans. It's like twice the size of me. Oh my goodness, there's so many. I'm standing in the production plant for Blackrocks, and to help celebrate for National Beer Day, we're going to take a closer look of how they make all of their special brews. So stick with us. It's going to be really interesting, guys. For Live Marquette, Ansley Watson, TV6 News.
Now, Ansley left out the coolest part. This is actually called New Beer's Eve. That's what she was saying right before she walked out the door this morning. So look forward to celebrating maybe some New Beer's Eve.
Right, that'll be perfect for this snowy day that we are seeing. Hang out inside.
Get through it.
Yeah.
Welcome back. It's 11 past the hour. Well, there seems to be a day to celebrate just about anything, even your favorite brews. This morning, Ansley Watson is at Blackrocks Brewery to tell us a little bit more about how they make all their beers and a big celebration coming up. Good morning, Ansley.
Good morning, Sam. This is quite a production that they have here. Joining me this morning is one of the co-founders, Andy Langlois. Good morning. Thanks for being with me.
Yeah, happy, was it National Beer Day?
Yeah, I guess today is actually New Beer's Eve, and tomorrow is National Beer Day.
So you haven't started drinking any beers yet this morning?
No, definitely not. Okay. Only water.
All right.
So 6 years ago, you and a friend dreamt up about making this brewery here. How did you make this happen?
Right. Yeah, David and I were home brewers years ago, and it's just a really fun hobby that kind of escalated, turned into a passion. And yeah, it was about five and a half years ago we started now, which is incredible. And we were brewing probably 4 years before that, and it just got to a point where we knew at some point this is what we wanted to do, and the planets aligned, and things kind of worked out.
Yeah.
And I guess yeah, it's good to see things kind of turn out the way they did.
Right. I mean, you have your tap room on 3rd Street, and then you have this huge place here on Washington. You moved in here, what, a couple years ago?
Yeah, a little over 2 years ago. It kind of made sense to kind of get into the production, distribution.
Right.
And this was a great building, the old Coca-Cola bottling plant that just was sitting idle for a while. And we came in one cold winter night, and it was cold and dusty and dark in here, and walked in, all this brick, and said, yeah, this definitely looks like a brewery. So it made sense to go ahead and to start laying some roots here as well.
Now you have so many different products. Kind of tell me about your standard ones and then some that you're coming out with as well.
Yeah, we've got, I'd say 51K IPA and Grand Rapids Cream Ale and Coconut Brown are our standard beers, but we really try to keep it fun, interesting, and fresh by putting out some seasonal beers and some limited release beers as well. So, like recently, we just put out Flying Sailor came back as a seasonal, and Classic Pilsner as well. And we're working on a new beer that should be out fairly soon, probably in a month or so. It's called the Murray Project. It's an Imperial IPA. It's a beer that we haven't done yet in a can. We've done it at the tap room, though.
Oh, okay. It's like, how do you come up with all these different recipes? You just play around with it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it started out with you know, David and I brewing when we got rolling, but you know, eventually the business started taking over a bit, and we were fortunate to run into some guys who were fantastic brewers that kind of were hanging out with us when we were in the early days, and they were they actually even had more experience than we did, and they shared the same passion for the direction we were going. So we've got some talented guys that know the ins and outs of malts and hops and water and yeast, and really with those being the 4 major ingredients, they're able to you know, whip together some really interesting brews. One is Andrew Reeves. He is the wizard. And,
Is that what you call him?
Yeah, yeah. And the other one is Chris Hutt. He's known around town as Chut.
Okay.
But his nickname is Monk of the Mash, Gangster of the Great White North, friend of woodland creatures everywhere. So
interesting. All right.
if you ever run into Chut at the tap room, you can say hello, Monk, or
That's hilarious.
Gangster. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
In a little while, we'll actually talk through the process and see just how they make all of their different products. Reporting live in Marquette, Ansley Watson, TV6 News.
All right, thanks a lot, Ansley. And Cassie, lucky Ansley had a safe drive there. A lot of people welcome back. Well, if you didn't know, Blackrocks Brewery creates several different kinds of beer throughout the year. Ansley Watson is there this morning, taking a closer look behind the scenes, taking in the process of it all. How's it going, Ansley?
Good, Sam. Yeah, we've already been on a tour and everything. This place is really, really incredible. Joining me this morning is the co-founder, Andy Langlois. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Brew, what is it?
New Beers
Eve. New Beers Eve.
That's apparently today.
Yes.
And tomorrow's National Beer Day.
Well, there you go. I guess it's too early to start drinking a beer, though.
No, yeah.
Is it or not? We're not in Ireland, I don't think.
No, we're definitely in the UP.
Well, we could do it. I don't know.
Are you going to do anything
stick
for
with coffee
National
for
Beer
right now.
Day? Yeah, coffee's good.
Coffee's good. Today, yes, we're probably going to hang out at the brewery, and James is already getting a beer going.
He's already getting started.
He's on our original one-barrel system today. That's the system we started out on, and it's great because we keep that thing spinning at least twice a week. And James is doing an experimental brew today, a chocolate coconut brown pale.
So you've never done that before?
No. Well, actually, not a brown. It's a coconut. I don't know. It's early.
I know it is.
I tried it. I just tried. It's a coconut. Yeah. Anyways.
That's okay.
He's brewing experimental beer today.
All right. So kind
We'll
of
be able
tell
to try
us.
it at the tap room in
That's
about
right.
2.5 weeks or so.
Kind of tell us how you guys start the whole process. Give us a little tour here of what you guys
The brewing
do.
process?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to use malt, water, hops, and yeast. And occasionally you add stuff like coconut or maybe chocolate or coffee. But you're going to get the brew going, initially you take your combination of malts that tend to make up the beer. You use base malts, you use specialty malts. Different malts lend different colors, different flavors, different aromas. Some are smoky, some are sweet, some are more acidic. And those are going to define how your beer turns out on the malt end of things. So you crush that malt, you put it in the water. Right now it looks like you're getting a shot of our Lauterton. This is where you're going to add the malt, you're going to add the water, let that spend some time in there, probably about an hour. And when that's done, you're going to create this sugary substance called wort, W-O-R-T. And once you've created this wort, we need to do something with it. So we're going to send it over to this other tank to your right, and that's the boil kettle. These are all steam jacketed, so we're able to control the temperatures. We can bring that kettle up to 212 degrees, get that up to boiling. It's going to spend about 60 minutes in there. So at that point, we can start adding hops. Hops are going to create a couple different things. Early on, it's going to create bitterness in the beer. Later on in the boil, it's going to create flavors and aroma. So now, once we're done with our boil and our hops, we're going to bring the beer over to these other tanks. These other tanks are fermenters. These fermenters, you can always tell whenever you go into a brewery, if it's got a cone on the bottom, it's going to be called a fermenter or a uni-tank. So we take that 212 degrees, we take a heat exchanger, bring it back down to 68 degrees, because now is the time we introduce yeast. Yeast is very crucial. Yeast will also change the profile of your beer. There's different strains of yeast that do different things. So we bring that temperature down, because if we added yeast at 212 degrees, it would kill the yeast. So we need to create an environment that the yeast are going to be happy, and this wort will actually come alive and turn into beer. And that's pretty much what happens. It does come alive and turn into beer. That sugary substance is the perfect environment for yeast. Yeast are gonna go and start feasting on this sugar. They're gonna create two byproducts. One is gonna be alcohol, and one is gonna be CO2. You can hear the CO2 bubbling over there right now. So there's a little bit more to it. We put it in bright tanks. We carbonate it. It runs over to the canning line where we started earlier today. And we can choose to put it in a can or a keg, and then it gets out to your hand, and hopefully you enjoy it.
And that's that. Well, thank you so much for giving us a tour. It's just been a great morning.
Yeah, thanks for your interest in us.
Always. Reporting live in Marquette, Ansley Watson, and we'll be back with more of your TV6 Morning News after the break.